so I'm going to need to order a couple dozen of those because it's coming up, and all of our friends, when they come over, they're like, "Do you have any of those bombs?"
They're pretty cool.
So
how do those work? I've never had one.
So we heat up the milk and we pour.
What's your lingo?
And we pour it into a cup, and then we drop we drop the ball in there and pour the milk over it that's heated. And it just turns into a wonderful glass of hot chocolate.
Let's have a chat, talk this and that with PB and Jaisy.
Well, welcome to the PB and Jaisy podcast. I'm Bill Stedham, and to my right is...
I'm Sarah Paget.
And I'm Jaisy George.
And today we're joined by literally one of the most smartest, most creative individuals that I know. She's the mom of 2 rocket scientists, 3 rocket scientists. We were trying to debate.
Only 2 are rocket, right?
Only 2 are rocket scientists. Yeah,
okay.
I'm the mom of 3.
Yeah. The third one,
There's still hope.
Yeah.
An entrepreneur in her own right, a realtor, and the only person that I know that takes her family to Oxford so that her husband can be run over by a bus.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll know more about that later on. Lisa, introduce yourself.
Well, you kind of just did. I'm Lisa Kammaz. I am a realtor, mother, cookier.
And you're still a wife
Baker.
after the bus incident?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
You said cookier?
Cookier, that's what we call ourselves.
Well, explain that. What's a cookier?
I guess I'm just a person who makes fancy cookies.
So you guys have seen the really cool sugar cookies. There's a couple people that do them online. Lisa actually brought us some today. They're beautiful. It's our PB and Jaisy logo. They look like they taste amazing.
They
we
look
haven't
really
sampled
cool.
yet.
Just for
But they're so pretty,
Halloween.
they're hard to eat.
For Halloween, I got her, she made some cookies for the boys' classes.
Oh, cool.
And they were the cutest, like little candy corns with like little happy faces and like a little, a ghost and like pumpkins. And they looked amazing and they tasted fantastic. So
did you sample what the boys were taking to school?
I mean, there were some extras.
Oh, okay.
Were there
There were extras.
I just thought of something because we're going to have a big celebration in January because Lisa helped us make Hall of Fame.
Oh.
And we could use some really special
that'd be
cookies
cool.
for that. That'll be awesome.
So
I'm sure she'll be
how did you get into that? Because you haven't been doing that very long, right?
I have actually been doing it for family friends forever.
Oh, okay.
I've done it, for the holidays, for special occasions, for family and close friends, like forever and ever. It's just something that I've enjoyed doing. And people have urged me, my family's urged me, you really need to sell these. And I'm like, I'm fine just doing it the way it is.
Yeah.
And it was finally, I guess, about like this past May when I made some cookies for my nephew's graduation and then for one of my son's roommates' graduation and made them all the Longhorn. And then the parent of the son, of the boy that graduated with my son, she said, hey, can you get some for my other son? He's graduating from high school and, he's going here for college. Can you do these? And I thought, sure. And she said, I'll pay you. And I said, well, if I'm going to start doing it regularly like that, then okay.
Yeah.
So, and then from there, they just referred them and it just kind of.
So do you have like a business page that you post things or is it all just
No,
referral?
I don't yet.
So it's all just referral.
I haven't got caught up with that yet.
I've seen the way that I heard about it was you were posting stuff on Facebook just of, hey guys, this is something that I'm kind of doing, and the pictures that you posted of cookies that you've made were fantastic.
Yeah, I just decided, like, on my regular Facebook page, I just put an album in there. Like, I have all my other albums, vacations, this, that. So I was like, okay, let's just do a cookie album, since I always take pictures of them for future reference. So I went ahead and put a page on there and then just started getting people, hey, are you making these now? Are you selling these? And I said, well, yeah, I guess I am.
So it sounds like you kind of stumbled into it, but it's that's awesome. So it's keeping you pretty busy.
Let me tell you one of the things I really enjoy. So as y'all know, I love Airstreams.
Oh, yes. Oh, we know.
But let me tell you, because time of the year, we've got a few rallies coming up in the winter, and I buy, and I hope Lisa still makes them, the hot chocolate bombs. I don't know what you call them.
I bought them from a couple of years. Last year, probably I'm going to do them this year.
Yeah, so I'm going to need to order a couple dozen of those because it's coming up, and all of our friends, when they come over, they're like, "Do you have any of those hot chocolate bombs?"
They're pretty cool.
So
how do those work? I've never had one.
So we heat up the milk in the frother, and we pour
What's your language?
and we pour it into a cup, and then we drop we drop the ball in there and pour the milk over it that's heated. And it just turns into a wonderful glass hot chocolate with marshmallows.
With the marshmallows, when it opens up, the kids absolutely love it. Because I always get them, because we do Christmas Eve at our house. So after dinner and after we've played games and stuff like that, we'll, watch something and do hot cocoa for the kids. And they all get so excited because they'll just watch it. And it's almost like, have you ever had those things where like you put them in the bath and like it's like a dinosaur egg and it opens up? So they're like so excited.
You know what? A funny story about that, talking about like those bath bombs. I kind of started doing the cocoa bombs because it was kind of like a TikTok craze, like maybe 2 years ago or something. So
it was during the pandemic, 2020.
And I'm kind of a do-it-yourselfer. I'm like, I can do that. If somebody else can do it, I can do it. So I decided to make them. So I made a bunch. That year, my son was coming home from college, and same roommate that I made the cookies for, I said, hey, tell Preston to stop on by, and I'm going to give him some hot cocoa bombs to take home to his family, when he goes home for the holidays. So he stopped by, and I gave him a bag of all these little cocoa bombs. Well, like a day later, his mom sends me this big, long message, and she says, hey, thank you so much for those cocoa bombs, but I have to tell you a funny story. She said, I got home and there was a couple of the wrappers in the trash can, and I told Preston, I said, hey, did you just use like almond milk, or what did you use for those? Because I know you don't like regular milk. And he said, well, no, I just ate them. And she said, no. She said, no, they're hot cocoa. You're supposed to put them in like milk or something and make them into hot chocolate. He said, I thought they were kind of dry, but they were really good. And
I was wondering
what all this powder was about.
Well, and I sent her back a message and I said, well, good thing he didn't put them in the bath, because when I first handed it to him, he said, oh, kind of like those bath bombs. And I said, no.
Yeah.
Bath bombs. These are hot cocoa.
I'm sure there's somebody that's done that. There's got to be.
Yeah.
Okay, this is really sticky.
Yeah.
Something you had mentioned earlier when you brought the cookies out was that all of these things that you've made so creative and things like that, that's a learned skill. So talk to us a little bit about how you've kind of grown that skill.
Well, to me, it is a learned skill. I don't feel like I grew up like with just an artistic talent. Like I never was one of those super artistic kids that could just, get out the artistic supplies and just create things. It didn't really interest me a lot, and I just wasn't naturally talented. But I have always been one, like I said, just, a little bit ago, that like when there was something that I set my mind to, I would figure out how to do it. Mm-hmm. So with that, like artistically, I took some classes in college, and I took an advertising class. And we had to draw pictures and, do these different advertising things. And they really taught me like the technique of actually like drawing and doing that. And then I went on to interior design school. And in that we had to do rendering classes where we did rendering, shading, all that kind of stuff. And I realized this is a learned. Some people are born naturally with it.
Right.
I think just like music, like some people are born naturally musically talented, but others can actually like learn it. Mm-hmm. But the same thing with like the arts. I feel like you can actually like learn it. And I feel like I did. And with a lot of things, I've just like set my mind to it, and I'm going to learn how to do this. And
I heard a good quote the other day. It was like, everything is figure outable. I was like, it is.
It is.
Yeah. If you really want to do it, you're like, okay, I can.
Yeah.
And then now there's videos for everything too.
Yeah.
Well, except you saw
Except
how
the
long
coffee
it took
maker.
me to clean the coffee maker today.
I walked in this morning and Bill it looked like New York Times open up, and he was reading instructions to clean the coffee maker. I was like, that's scary when a man's reading instructions.
And I'd been
And he
doing
threw
it
them
since
away.
6:30.
He did throw them away.
See, well, that's the other thing with it is I like instructions. I like a set, like how to do.
Me too.
And I think that's why I enjoy more of the like baking and, kind of like that kind of side of cooking. I'm not a great cook. I don't enjoy cooking, because cooking is more like throw this, throw that.
The balance
Right.
of it
Kind
all.
of do that.
It's a lot of testing
Give me
too.
directions. Tell me exactly how to do it. So with baking, it's more of the chemistry of it, of like how things have to work together to make this.
Right.
And I prefer that.
So you like that part more than the decorating part?
No, I like the decorating. That gets my artistic outlet too. But
Gotcha.
I like the directions. I like to know, how am I supposed to do this exactly?
Yeah.
So has your decorating taken over your entire kitchen now?
No, not really. I bring it out and put it back. Everything has to be neat and
Yeah.
clean. I can't I can't have clutter all over.
Well, I will warn you, the few people I know that do have the cookie businesses that put them out, a lot of them have to pump their brakes, especially this time of year with all the holidays and stuff. They're like, hey, listen, I can't take any more orders. So it is.
You don't get burnt out.
Yes, it is crazy, but that's good. I mean, I think it keeps you busy, and
I've declined orders. There have been times where it's like, you know what, I'm sorry, it's
too much.
I've already, I've already have too many things going on. I can't
add something else
at this moment.
Now, what about the boys and the husband? Do they taste test your cookies, or are they tired of them already?
They come and go.
Yeah.
They'll my one down in college, like we take him, and his girlfriend takes him down to him all the time. He'll eat anything.
Right.
He and his roommates. But no, they kind of have gotten a little bit burned out.
Yeah. That's what I think. I always think, like, I don't think I could cook or bake like that all the time because I love sweets. But I think at some point, if you're cooking the same thing over and over, you probably would want something different. I don't know.
Yeah.
You just change it up a little bit and do different things.
A different shape.
So, you were telling us earlier when you went to Oxford, you were trying to buy a sweatshirt. Did you get one?
I didn't.
You didn't get one?
Yeah, things were stopped by your husband getting hit by a bus. Do you want to tell us what happened?
Somebody the other day was in England. I don't remember who it was. And
Bill?
They were saying, I know Bill was, but no, somebody else. Another friend of mine that I know. I was following her posts in Europe, and she made a statement, something about she saved her husband from getting hit by a bus. And I had a comment to her like, unfortunately, I did not save my husband from getting hit by a bus. Fortunately, it all turned out okay. He was fine. We managed to finish up our trip. But he does have that claim to fame that he did get hit by one of the big double-decker buses at Oxford.
Oh, my goodness.
It was...
Any scars or marks or anything to prove it?
No, it didn't really scar him. He had a nice big bruise from it initially, but it didn't... He did scrape his elbow. Like there was a little bit of road rash, even though he had on like 3 layers of clothes. It's still.
Well, he went flying past you, right?
He went flying past me. Yeah.
As you're walking down the street.
But I like the comment that you made, because she was talking to us a little bit about this before we started. But you had warned him, right?
I warned him a couple of times.
God makes marriages on purpose. Like you were there to warn him, and you tried.
Told you so.
Yeah.
Now I can't get my sweatshirt, all because of you.
Yeah. After all the initial shock of it, I was like, "What were you doing?"
Yeah.
I told you to stay out of the street.
So tell us a little bit about your son. So you have 3 sons. What age are they?
I have a 26-year-old. I have a 23-year-old, and I have a 19-year-old.
Oh, wow. So they're grown. They're grown men.
They're grown, but you know what? I don't know. I feel like, they kept me busy as babies. You guys both know you're both about to be there. You're in the middle of it. And I feel like those years were busy, but these older years are equally as busy in a different way.
Yeah.
It's kind of different with like boy, because you've got 3 boys, I've got 2 boys, and right now mine are 4 and 2, and I just love how much they like adore me, and it's violent, it's hurting, it hurts, I have bruises all the time, but it's also very sweet because I see that they don't interact that way with my husband. Like they do love my husband, but it like he'll just sit there and watch them like literally just trampling me, jumping on me, because they just want to want my attention. If I'm doing anything and I'm not watching them, they need me to like look at them doing anything. And so you saying that now that they're older and it's not, it's just like a totally different season because they're older and they've got their own things kind of
now
going
they're
on.
like these towering.
Yeah, but they still love mama.
Oh my gosh, they're still mommy's boys.
I say both of my brothers were that way.
Yes,
oh yeah,
for sure. So they still keep me busy. They still keep me super busy.
And so are they actual rocket scientists? Are they studying?
No, my oldest more takes after me. He's like not in the math and science realm. Like he doesn't have anything to do with that. He's more of a language writer, speaks very well, does all of that.
He speaks good.
He can speak good.
He know how to tell.
Yeah. My middle one, who is 23, he's not really rocket science. He's biomedical.
Oh, wow.
Engineering. So, and he's in his last year. Mom and Dad get a big raise.
Yeah. That's
so
awesome.
Excited. And he just got a really good job offer up here in Dallas area.
Oh, good. So
we're
he'll be
super
back.
excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just signed a really good, like, I'm like, wow.
And they both went to Austin? Did they both go to?
No. And the younger one, the older one didn't go off to school. He went and did his 2 years, and then he's actually doing some trade school stuff right now.
Awesome.
Then he's in Austin, and then my youngest is at UTA and living at home.
Okay.
He's going for computer science.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I bet you're so proud of them. Yeah.
I'm proud of them, yeah.
So you've had so many different jobs and titles and things like that. You've told me that back when you were in California, you were doing interior design. Is that right?
Yeah.
So that's what you originally went to school for.
That's what my original degree is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long did you do that?
Oh my goodness, I don't know, probably 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, had my own business there. I worked with an architect, like when I was going through college. I was office manager for an architectural firm. When I graduated from school with my design degree, the architect and then another designer and I formed our own interior design business. And we ran that business until I moved from California. And moved to Texas. And that's kind of a hard business to move to another state because a lot of references, a lot of trades that you deal with and work with, that it's hard to like rebuild that whole thing coming here. So I didn't come here and go straight away and do that.
Mm-hmm. And then there's teacher on your resume, right?
That was my first Texas job.
Okay.
When I came to Texas, I stayed home for a little bit with my last baby. And then got my teaching certificate and went and taught second grade for 10 years.
Oh, awesome.
Wow.
How'd you like that?
I loved it.
They're still so cute at that age. Now, is that reading age? Is that when they really start?
They're learning.
Learning to read.
They really learned to read like first grade. So second grade, we were kind of just trying to refine and build on those skills.
Gotcha.
So yeah, they're still, 7 and 8 year olds, 6, 7, 8 year olds there. Yeah.
That's
and
a
I
good age.
still go back now. I've gone back after COVID. They've been so desperate for help in all of the education system. So I've been able to go back because I still have my certificate. Go back and I go twice a week and I go and tutor.
Oh, awesome.
And it's really literally like the best of both worlds because I still get to go do my teaching. But it's kind of like being the grandparent. I get to go, like,
You get to love on them and then give them
and
back.
I get to actually teach, like, which some of the teachers sadly like are not getting to like do.
To actually do, yeah.
Well, you know, there's so much else that goes along with it right now. All the data collection, all the testing, all of this, all of that. That just the
There's
actual
not a
like
lot
getting
of room
into the
left.
heart of teaching doesn't get to happen as much as teachers would like it to.
Right.
And I think that's a big reason why so many are leaving the field because it's not what it was when they initially entered or what they thought it was
Yeah.
going to be.
Yeah. So I get to go back, a couple days a week and be, grandma teacher.
That's awesome.
That's a great little balance.
Yeah, it is. With everything that I've been able to do, I was, I don't know who I was even talking to, maybe my stepmom, I don't know. I feel like I've been so fortunate to get to try a lot of different things because I've always envied like my dad. My dad was an airline pilot. He knew from the time he was 3. He saw those things up in the sky. That's what I want to do. I'm going to be a pilot. And that's what he did. That's what he retired from. That's what his whole life was. And I didn't ever really feel like one thing. I always felt like a million things. I was like, ooh, I want to do that. Ooh, I want to do that. And I want to do that. Ooh, I want to do that too. So I feel fortunate that I've been able to get to do a lot of
that.
different things.
It's great. It keeps you well-rounded. You've had so many lives basically with all of the different professions and things that you've been able to do.
Yeah.
And so lots of life that I'm sure you've learned in every.
I just didn't get to become a doctor. That's the
Yeah.
only one I need to do.
Well, you still have time.
Except for Dr.
there's
Google.
still time.
I'm Dr. Google though. Sometimes. I treat my family.
You
all
can
the
still
time.
do it.
So then,
Ann does that.
Treat and diagnose.
I have a cough. She's on Google. Oh, you're going to die, and here's why.
well, you either have a cold or leprosy. That's kind of, or
Yeah.
cancer.
Yeah.
So how did you go from teacher to realtor? Was that a transition between the two or was there something else?
No, it was a transition between the two. After about 10 years of being in the classroom, and yes, I love the second graders, but you know what? You're in 4 walls all day long, every day. And at that age, you can't be off ever. Like you don't go sit at your desk and do something. You know, you're on with them all day long.
Right.
So there just came a point like where I think my oldest son was going to be a senior in high school. My youngest son was going to be a freshman. And I remember the day where I just kind of was sitting there and I thought, I think I'm done.
Oh, wow.
So I just decided to step back for a little while and take some time and have, be a little bit more flexible, have some time with them, towards the end of their regular like school careers. And coming back to real estate was kind of a natural back to my, I had been all in real estate in California, even though it wasn't actually selling real estate. I worked in model homes. I did model home design. I worked for a developer. I worked for, the architect. So everything had to do with the real estate market.
Right.
So it was kind of just a natural back to some of those roots.
When you're very, very good at it. I get to read all the reviews. You're amazing at it. And I get to talk to a couple of folks that you work with on a regular basis that couldn't do what they do without you. And they brag on you every single time I talk to them.
You.
I mean, they literally say, we couldn't do what we do without Lisa. So,
Well, it sounds like everything you've done, you've been successful at, so it must be nice.
You're right. When you put your mind to something,
and
you're doing it.
It's, but I heard something the other day that made me think about, like, with you said, like, the reviews. I mean, I've gotten usually good reviews. I've got one that I was like devastated by because I felt like I did a good job, but they did not. But I heard something the other day that they said when something like that happens, just go have a 5-second funeral and then get over it.
And then,
And I don't do that. Sometimes I dwell on things. Sometimes I'll dwell on stuff, but I've got to like remember that in my head. Okay, 5-second funeral, and then we're moving on.
I love that term, 5-second funeral. It was probably 15 years ago. We were at a Century 21 convention. And they were talking about the fact that, it's not always going to be all positives when you're doing things. And, they had us do this. And for those on the podcast, you can't see me move my hand up like it's going over a hill and back over. And it was build a bridge and get over it. And literally give yourself 3 or 4 seconds to be done with it and move on down the road, because it will not have any impact on you. Of course, learn if there's something to learn from.
Right.
None of us are perfect, so we do have things we can learn from. But
Well, and I think we're in a culture too where it's so easy to complain, and very seldom does somebody, go out of their way to say great job, which in real estate, fortunately we get the surveys sent out and we do get a lot of positive stuff back, but there's always the Karen, there's always the person that no matter what you do, they can do it better, or it should have been done differently, or it sucks, so it hurts.
Great example of that. We just went on a once in a lifetime vacation. And we were on a Ritz-Carlton yacht line, and we're cruising in a place that has the most amazing service and food that you could ever be in your entire life. I mean, impeccable. And there were still 2 people. Now there's 300 people on the ship. There were still 2 people that griped about everything.
Bill and Ann.
No, it was not us. In fact, in the review I wrote a 4 or 5 page review that got published on the internet. Because it had to get accepted by the place that I submitted it to. I put a comment in there that said, except for the 2 Karens, and I guess the only time life is going to be good is when you die and go to heaven, and then maybe it'll be perfect for you.
Oh, wow. Sometimes I wish my name was Karen, because I would just go leave a bunch of really good reviews, because then you're like, hey, if Karen likes it, everybody likes it.
That reminds me of, you're talking about how people just complain to complain. I mean, it was, 30 years ago, and I was in Cancun, and we got stuck in one of the biggest hurricanes ever down there. We got stranded down there. We had to stay a couple extra days because Cancun was literally obliterated, off the face of the map. Well, when we got out of our shelter and got to go back to see what had happened to our hotels and everything, we ended up having to stay there because the airport shut down, the tower was blown out, everything. Nobody was getting out. And we went back to our hotel and stayed. The people down in Mexico came from whatever had happened at their homes and came to our hotel and ran generators and tried to take care of the people at the hotel.
Oh, wow.
And people still complain.
Yeah, it's like,
I was,
what would you have them do?
I was
It's
so
not like
These are people that are being selfless to help you.
It's an act of God. It's not like
It was embarrassing.
We're in the service industry, and 99% of the people we encounter are outstanding. But, Judge used to have a statement that 1 in 15 people that you encounter will be an SOB. In some days, you skip 1 through 14 many times.
Yes. I learned that waiting tables too, because you'd have a great day and great people coming in, and you'd have one person that could just, and if you let it, would ruin the entire day. But it was like it would negate all the others, and it just sucks.
Well, and that's the problem is we have to learn not to let that negate everything that's happening, and realize that no one gets to choose our happiness besides ourselves.
Right.
And
You get to pick your attitude.
you do, and what anybody else thinks of you doesn't matter.
When you said that, Tom had his arms crossed, and you said you get to pick your attitude, and he uncrossed his arms.
Really? Yeah.
It's like,
Just so you know.
I'm not angry, I'm happy.
I still listen to him complain about my chicken.
Well, we have a little segment that we like to call.
Tales from the Lockbox.
And this one I actually found because it's about baking. I thought it was funny. This lady, her son was an Eagle Scout, and all the parents of the Eagle Scouts were supposed to bring a cake. They were having this big cake decorating competition. Well, she baked the cake and it kept falling. So it felt like it fell into itself. And so she didn't have time to bake another one. So she looked around. She's like, what can I do? So she was trying to find some type of solution. So she said, I know what, I'm going to stuff the hole with paper towels. So she stuffs the hole with paper towels, frost over it, decorates it. It's perfect. And off they go, with this decorated cake. Well, the big night came. Father and son went off to the scouting event. They left the cake for everybody to judge or whatever. Well, they end up winning. Well, since they had won, they were asked to share the cake with everyone there. So then of course, father and son have no idea what happened, but they cut into this cake and they find the paper towel. So needless to say, when they came home, they were both very upset with mom. So note to self, not that Lisa would ever put paper towels in a baked good, but my thought would be when I read that and they were upset, I'm like, then make the cake yourself.
But I think that's a common thing. Like my wedding cake was ginormous.
Was it stuffed with paper towels?
No, but not every layer was real.
Like full, yeah.
Like only the top 3 layers were real, and then all of the bottom part was just like foam that they decorated.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I didn't even read this part, but it says that people will ask her to bake for them, but they'll bring rolls of paper towels and frosting and say, can you bake me a cake? That's awesome. That's why I don't bake.
Yeah, well, that's what I've seen on some of those baking shows, the stuff that they put inside to make some of those super designs. There's all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of
all
the
those
cakes they'll put Rice Krispies smushed all in there to make it into the right shape and then frost over it. So yeah. I mean, there's only so many ways you can get those things shaped.
I look online all the time. I guess I've liked it on TikTok or something or Instagram, but it's the cakes that you can't tell if it's real or not until they cut it.
Tom did a game one time where it was and some of them look so real. It's like a croc shoe.
Yes.
So you're like, I don't know, and it's cake.
It's crazy.
Or like a wall outlet. I've seen some crazy ones.
Yeah.
Well, with that, maybe we better level up a little.
So I saw this really great quote on Instagram, and I thought it was really great. So a bottle of water, you can find it at the supermarket, you can find it at a restaurant, you can find it at an airport, and at the supermarket, you'll get it for 50 cents. The same bottle at a bar will cost $2. At a good restaurant or a hotel, it'll be $3. On an airplane, it can be $5. The bottle and the brand is exactly the same. The only thing that's changed is the place that it's at. So each place gives a different value to the same product. So when you feel like everyone around you is not giving you your worth and is belittling you, just change places and have the courage to change places and go to a place where you are given the value you deserve, and surround yourself with people who really appreciate your worth.
That's really good. Mm-hmm. That is really, really good.
I like that.
Very true. And so hopefully everyone here is finding their worth and surrounded by people that are encouraging them.
Because the bottles of water there
are very
expensive.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
And here's the funny thing about all of it. It's free when it comes out of your water faucet at home.
That's true.
And it's the same water, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, and what's funny about that too is I was telling my kids the other day, I remember a day when we didn't have water bottles.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Guys, we didn't get water. It came out of the tap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I remember where you didn't go to the store. I remember when when I was younger and they first came in, I was like, people are buying water in bottles?
Well, and I'm a lot older than you, but I grew up in California in the same place. Mom would kick us out of the house about 6 a.m. And we couldn't come back in till dinner about 6:30.
You bring your canteen with you?
No,
Or water
you
hose?
drank out of the water hose
yeah.
all day
Water
long.
hose water is amazing.
You know, and
It tastes so good.
It tastes so good, and it's better than any bottled water out there. I'm sure I just upset all the activists in the world.
I saw something during the pandemic that said if you played outside all day and had to drink water from the water fountain, you don't need a COVID.
Yes.
There's a lot of truth to that. Well, you know, this has been great. And Lisa, thanks for coming and visiting
Thank you
with
so
us.
much for the cookies,
Yes.
too.
I can't wait to
Better
bite
me
into
this
one
time.
just a couple minutes, get a good nice
You
hot
have to
cup
be
of
good
coffee.
first. You have to
I
be
have to
good.
be
and then-
Hasn't been good
yeah.
so far, Mom?
You gotta earn. You gotta
So
earn.
far, so good.
So I try. Guys, we really appreciate you following us and watching us and coming every single week, all 7 of you or however many people listen.
Hi, Mom.
But please give us reviews anywhere where you find popular podcasts. Tell us what we're doing right. Also, tell us what you'd like to see. And if you want to be a guest on our podcast, let us know. With that being said, we're the PB and Jaisy podcast. And we out.
See you next.
Just had a chat, talk this and that with PB and Jaisy.